One of the most grotesque practices in this modern day and age is the government-sanctioned killing program known as medical assistance in dying. We've brought you many gut-wrenching stories about it before, and each new one seems to get worse than the last. The story today regarding an Ontario man is something you would only expect to see in a horror movie, but alas, it's happening in real life. So this is the headline from LifeSite News, and we'll just warn you in advance, it is disturbing, but we think it's very important that people know what's going on. It reads, "Help me. Botched euthanasia exposes the horrific reality behind medical aid in dying." The article opens by saying the great victory of suicide activists has been to sanitize and medicalize the killing of human beings. We cannot use words like suicide or killing. We must instead use false, propagandistic language like medical aid in dying, or preferably the official sounding acronym MAiD. Suicide and killing still make us uncomfortable, and so the terms have been whisked carefully out of sight. Here's the story. Occasionally we catch glimpses of the truth. An Ontario man groaned, grimaced, and repeated "help me" while undergoing doctor-assisted death after one of the drugs didn't produce the anticipated level of sedation, initially leaving him conscious, Sharon Kirky reported in the National Post on June 3rd. The man, referred to as Mr. D, quote, experienced signs of physical and psychological distress, including groaning, guarding, meaning tensing muscles, and grimacing. And his behavioral signs of distress escalated to repeated verbalizations, including "help me," that continued until sedation was achieved with propofol and a comatose state was confirmed. The family's final memories of their father are traumatic. Suddenly, it was clear that Mr. D was not just dying, he was being killed, and the doctor was botching it. His last words, it seems, were calls to his family for help. Another example from Kirky, cases of MAiD that do not proceed as planned, were highlighted last week in media reports involving the 2024 death of Bradley Stewart, an Ontario man who resumed breathing after being pronounced dead by a London, Ontario family doctor and MAiD provider. A traumatic experience his siblings, who witnessed his mishandled death, are still recovering from. In relation to that particular story, one sibling noted that at first, quote, "we couldn't talk about it. Going through MAiD and losing somebody twice in a matter of a couple of hours was too much," they said. After Stewart began breathing again, the doctor, James McLean, who recently attracted international attention after approving a man for euthanasia in a Tim Hortons parking lot, had to come back and take care of the patient again. McLean is now under clinical supervision, but he's allowed to continue administering MAiD. The article concludes with, "These stories remind me of the botched Belgian euthanasia in 2022. 36-year-old Alexina Wattiers decided to die by lethal injection after a cancer diagnosis. The family expected her death to be swift and silent. They left the room. After a moment, they heard screams. I recognized her voice," her partner said. "Afterwards, we saw her lying on the bed with her eyes and mouth open. A post-mortem examination revealed the truth. Alexina had been suffocated to death. Some news reports indicate that the doctor used a pillow when the drugs failed to kill her. Others say that the nurses took turns holding the pillow over the young woman's face until she asphyxiated." Euthanasia advocates hate these stories because when the mask slips, people catch an unvarnished glimpse at what is going on behind all the soothing, medicalized language. It's killing people. To mainstream the idea that medical professionals should kill patients, we must use terms that distract from that reality. End-of-life care, physician-assisted death, medical aid in dying. Euthanasia activists paint a picture of people being put out of their suffering, surrounded by their loved ones as soothing music plays in the background, dying peacefully and with dignity. The last line of the article states, "If you didn't know better, you'd hardly think someone was being killed." And that's the point. Every time we cover one of these stories, we are horrified that this practice continues to remain legal and is normalized. There is nothing normal or compassionate about wanting to end someone else's life, and that's probably how you end up with these compassionate doctors strangling someone to death or agreeing to give them euthanasia outside of a cafe. It is horrific, and we hope that in continuing to raise awareness on these issues, it will finally put an end to this barbaric practice. There is a serious problem with health insurance in America. Over 200,000 Americans per year are driven into bankruptcy due to health events despite having health insurance. On average, 20% of people have their claims denied altogether, leaving them and their families helpless, not to mention the additional out-of-pocket expenses, despite dumping thousands of dollars per year into unreliable insurance and deductible payments. Well, did you know there's an alternative? In the midst of all of this, a revolutionary model has emerged that is resulting in just shy of 100% of medical bills being funded, and at literally a fraction of the cost. It's called crowd health, with over 28,000 members helped with medical bills, a 99.9% funding success, and over $56 million in medical bills saved. This alternative method of healthcare is sweeping the nation, and people need to know this option exists for them and their loved ones. Crowd health is not insurance. You can opt out of the broken system and take your power back. Get started today for $99 per member per month for the first 3 months, which includes your member fee and crowd health contributions, by using the code PULSE at joincrowdhealth.com/pulse. That's joincrowdhealth.com/pulse. Remember to use code PULSE.